Hey guys, welcome back to Kiwi Classics and Customs. Today we're back on Caspa and we're trying to get this rear suspension buttoned down. We've got the 4-link bars, the forward facing bars. We did those on the previous episode with Caspa. Now it's this fandangled Watts link, which the idea is it goes like that, and then as it transitions through your up and down, if these outer ends with the bodywork going up and down, the Watts link moves and keeps the rear axle like exactly in the same point. You get zero side to side movement. So this is a great setup, but it's a little complicated. Now what we have is brackets like this that have to go up. We're going to have a bolt through there, like that. And basically that has to be welded into here. Now the rear axle's hanging right down low, so don't worry too much about the heights. This will be considerably higher. But we've got a weld brackets on here like that, and then one's on the other side for the other bar. And my concern was, Scott's suspension said just weld these brackets straight onto the rails, but the Mustang rails are just not that thick. They're only maybe 16 gauge, maybe 14, but probably 16. And there's just not enough beef to take the kind of side loading that you're going to get. So what we've done, what I've decided I want to do is reinforce it with some 3/16 plate, which is what we do on the front when we add the front suspension. Because again, you're putting a lot of load on in areas that Ford didn't design that load to go. Ford designed it for the leaf springs, and the pockets up the front where the leaf springs attach into are seriously beefy, but we're not using those. These rails were really, did the job perfectly well, but they weren't designed to support a Watts link system. So I've fabricated up this bracket. This is just 3 by 1.5 inch angle iron, 3/16. We've had to do a little bit of trimming, and I'll show you why in a second. But that's going to go up in there and get burned in, and that gives us a real strong foundation in which to start with. Now I had to trim it here and put a little curve in to match the rail, because I wanted to get far enough forward to be able to weld it into this subframe here, this cross member here. So we can get it welded into there. It's going to stabilize it this way, and then that load will be spread over a much bigger area. Now if you come around this side, the rail here we've had to trim for these oversized tubs. So the rail's a little bit narrower here, which is why we've kind of got this shape cut into it. And that was pretty simple to do. It was really just hold it up there before we trimmed it, get a Sharpie, run it down the inside, and then just trim it. And then a little bit of grinding and a bit of finessing. We'll push that up into there so it touches and get all that burned in. And then it's like building a house. You need a good foundation, and that's what everything builds off. So we'll get those burned in, and then we can start worrying about those brackets that are going in. This side I've already got trimmed, got G-clamped in there. We've got a couple of tack welds going here. The other thing I did was drilled some holes here through the middle of this plane, so that we can burn in here and like plug weld effectively into the side of the chassis rail. So it's as strong as it can be. Because if you're cornering hard and you hit a bump halfway through that corner, that lateral load, which is controlled by the end of these bars, goes directly into your rails. So it's going to get a push or a pull into these rails, and I don't want them flexing and moving. If you get flexed, after time you're going to get cracks, and that's what you don't want. So yeah, I've a reasonable way down the road with these, then we can work into the rest of it. What also goes in, this is the top mount for your coilovers. The coilover shocks basically attach into there like that, and this, once we get the foundation in, is going to go up here. It's going to go a little further forward, but we're running out of room because we've added this. It's pushing us out in the taper, but we'll have to trim this bar a little bit because that really wants to probably go about there. It won't quite fit in there at the moment, but that gives you an idea. We'll mount that up as high as we can, and then we come down here and we've got to weld some lower mounts for the coilover. So your coilover is going to go, if I can reach that, We got some little tabs on the bottom of that coilover, which came with the kit. So, need about 3 hands for doing this, but essentially, that's going to go there, that's going to go there. That bottom end of the coilover will attach onto this bar, which doubles as the anti-roll bar, the sway bar. So, yeah, we're going to have lots of links and pretty high-tech rear suspension in actual fact. So I'm going to start burning these in, get those burned in. Then the next step will be trimming this to size and keep moving forward. So let me go and burn these brackets in and I'll be right back. Okay, so been busy. Got quite a bit of welding done. Got these plates welded in here. This reinforcing plate for the rear rail. So it's 3/16. Got that mostly welded in. Kind of radiused a few edges and it's got a little bit of prettying to do. We've put the shock mount bolt in here. Now those bolt into there. I've just at the moment I've got these off here so we can get the rear axle up to ride height because we've got a next step. We've got all these mounts here mocked in place, tacked in place, so everything's mounted and it will ride on its own coilover shocks now. When we wheeled it over to the rack, we just had a big block of wood in here to hold it up. So those are ready to bolt in, and I say I've just disconnected them so we can lift the axle to ride height. These lower 4-bar links under here, the whole idea with these is they're horizontal, they're level with the ground at ride height. So we are now at ride height with the axle. So I had to disconnect these because as you wound it up on the stands, it wanted to lift it off the rack, which is not a good thing. Having gotten those buttoned down now, it's time for this Watts link, this magical Watts link. So that is going to go kind of here. That's going to go up to, it's a bit of, that goes, we've got it kind of marked there. That's its happy place here. That right side Watts link bar is horizontal, which is where you want it. The actual Watts link, which is this nice pretty little billet, but that's the Watts link. That wants to be at about 11 o'clock, and that's about, we don't have to hold it all up, that's at about 11 o'clock. You don't want it actually straight up and down. It might kind of look a little bit better, I was thinking, like being vertical and these horizontal, everything's kind of right angles and looking nice. But as the suspension's going up and down, it wants to have a little bit of a clock to it, like to 11 o'clock, and that just allows when it's vertical it can want to bind a little bit sometimes, so you start off at right height with it slightly clocked and then it moves smoother, it's a smoother transition. What we have run into is these brackets here, while we could make it reach over there, this bar here is going to be wildly out of alignment with the right hand side bar. So these should be parallel to each other. So we're going to have to make up some brackets for the other side to drop this bar down, because at the moment it wants to be up like there at like 10-15 degree angle, which is not going to fly. So yeah, next we'll tack that up in place so I'm not like feeling like an octopus trying to hold everything up. And then we can kind of worry about this, make a template for some brackets that are going to drop this down, and yeah, then we can button down the Watts link, and then it'll be drop it all out again, so that I can do some nice welding. Everything is tacked on at the moment. The main bracket here onto the housing, all the 4-link brackets are all tacked to the housing. So I get everything in place and everything where I want it to be, and then I can take it out, I can put it on the bench in front of me, and instead of trying to weld like this and doing stacks of dime welds up over your head, which is nigh on impossible, I get it down and on the bench, and I can just work over my work and do a night and rotate it so I'm always at a comfortable angle doing my welding. So yeah, everything's tacked at the moment, so don't be too judgmental on me on that. Obviously, some of these welds you can see are definitely tacks. But yeah, everything's almost in place. We've just really got to tack that end up, make some brackets for there, and then it's just finish welding. So I'm going to get this up there, make up some templates, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, I've been busy It's pretty well buttoned in now. Not finished, but buttoned in. So the Watts link, we made up new brackets for the end here, for this side, because the ones they supplied weren't deep enough. So made that a little bit longer. So yeah, and you can see how the Watts link's going to lay. When that comes up to ride height, these two arms will be pretty much horizontal. And we also managed to get the anti-roll bar in, which is here. So that's your arm. We've got the link coming up to here. We had to change this around a little bit to make it work. Reinforce the rail here, welded these tabs on, and that's the anti-roll bar there ready to go. So now it's really a case of get it all out again and do all the boring finish welding. Like trying to weld some of these brackets with all this in the way is you know, it could be done, but why fight it? So we'll drop all this out again, do all the finish welding, on the housing around this, all these brackets and all these four-link brackets. Everything's tacked in, but everything's in and working as it should. It's a complete rear suspension there, and it looks pretty good. You know, we did have to lose a lot of the floor in the trunk to make way for all this stuff. And this, the tank, we're going to have to do a custom tank in it, because this Watts link is now in the piece of real estate where the fuel tank would normally be. The fuel tank is probably about 2 inches forward of this Watts link. So we're going to have to build some new floor for it and make a custom tank. While we're doing that floor, we're going to actually put a full floor in the trunk. The top of the fuel tank is not, typically on the Mustang, the top of the fuel tank is the floor, and the customer doesn't want that. He's a little bit safety conscious, and I get that too. I don't really blame him. But while we're remaking the floor, instead of making it, you know, for a drop in the whole tank, with the top of the tank being the floor, we're just going to put a complete solid floor in it. Make some mounts that we can, you know, bolt a tank up to from underneath. So if it's ever in a rear end collision, you know, that fuel, if the tank ruptures, the fuel will go down. It won't go into the car. That has happened. I mean, that was a Pinto thing. That was a big thing back in the 70s. So the Pintos were, you know, burning up in rear end collisions. So he's a little wary of that, which I get. So yeah, while we're doing that, we'll do it that way, and we can get a custom tank that'll only be that deep, but raising the floor will also enable us to put a little bit deeper tank in it. So we should be able to get like that 20-gallon tank or so in the room that we've got. Yeah. So that's about it, really. As I say, it's just the boring stuff of getting it all apart and to finish up the welding. But yeah, there you have it. Scott's Hot Rods 6-link. Technically a 6-link, because you got your 4 going forward and your 2 here. So yeah, Scott's Hot Rod 6-link. It's a little bit of work, but it's nice. Alright guys, next video is going to be getting that Coyote in the front of this thing. That's kind of the next chapter on this particular car. So we'll come back to you with that. See you on the next one. Take it easy guys.